The title of this communique is Agenda for a Valuable Nigeria. Agenda for a Valuable Nigeria. I go to the preamble. The anniversary, I'm talking of June 12th anniversary now, was well attended by broad sections of Nigerians and democratic enthusiasts, including political leaders of thought, pro-democracy groups, June 12 stakeholders, leaders of political parties, labor leaders, civil society advocates, women, youth leaders, all of who first visited MKO Abiola Democracy Center to pay tribute to the memory of Abiola, the heroes and heroines of democracy, before later converging at the Lagos Airport Hotel for the anniversary dialogue. Some of the key contributors at the historic event are myself, Dr. Tunji Abayomi, my brother here, Prince Adewale Adebayo, Professor Sylvester Odion Akaine, you avoid the K. Olusegun Mayegun, who is here, came all the way from Osun State. Mike Igini, Professor Sadiq Abubakar Umar, who came from Gombe. Professor Anthony Killer came from Abuja. Dr. Tanko Yunusa, who is here, from Kano. Professor Remi Shonaya, I think Professor Remi Shonaya is from here. Okay? Comrade Wale Okunoye Chi here. Mr. Emeka Ugu Oju, Oloye Adegboyega Adeniji, who is here. Solomon Selkap Dalong, the former Minister of Youth.
From Jos, yes.
From Jos, he came from Jos. Among many other political stakeholders and believers in Nigeria, all of who attended the commemorative democracy dialogue. The anniversary was held against the backdrop of sundry national crises, underlined by declining trust in the electoral process, widespread insecurity in the nation, general impoverishment of the Nigerian citizens, and serious loss of faith in and love for the nation by the majority of our citizens. After useful deliberations, participants agreed that the country is in dire straits and therefore requires urgent attention. Consequently, the gathering resolved on the following measures. Now, these measures are divided into two. The first category, which is called immediate measures. One, that there should be in place before the 2027 elections a credible electoral process that represents the clear will and wish of our people arising from urgent review of the Electoral Act 2026 by the National Assembly. Our view is that government should be preoccupied in ensuring paramountcy of fair and free election beyond winnability. Because our view is that if we establish free and fair election, if government focuses on that, then the interests of our people and their right to constitute government will become respected. And then the principles of democracy will be established. As a matter of fact, we hold the view that if government establishes free and fair election, and that same government loses through a free and fair election, actually the government has won, because the peoples of Nigeria, has won. Because when you look at it, our people have no cars, they don't have land in Asokoro or Maitama, they don't have money in the bank, they don't have big and beautiful houses, they don't even have the capacity to eat in a hotel. The only thing they have is the right to constitute government over themselves. If this one is also injured and made impossible, then if they also cannot have the liberty to select government through a free and fair election, then what do they have? What do they have in their country? So we are of the view that it should be the first principle and the primary commitment of government to ensure that this nation has a free and fair election beyond any person or any party winning election. First and foremost, government should ensure that the peoples of Nigeria win through free and fair election by ability to cast their votes to elect the people they want. That's our position. 2, that government should be more responsible and accountable in the management of national resources, such that the wealth of the nation should be deployed and expended on the welfare, security, and the well-being of Nigerians. On this issue, we are dissatisfied with the amount of money spent to maintain government as compared with the amount of money spent for the well-being of the people. We are totally dissatisfied. When you look at the budget, you look at the amount of money for this and that and this and that, all of it tied to the management and maintenance of government. And then you look at it, how much is it committed, for example, to health? How much is committed to simple things as water that a mother needs to bath a little baby? How much is committed to education of our people? How much is committed to food security, and so on and so on and so forth? And then you compare it to what is committed to running and maintaining government. We think there is a sense of iniquity in the way the wealth of the nation is managed. The wealth of the nation, in our view, belongs to the people, yes, not to the government. Yes. And it is important for the government to respect this idea. Therefore, we are of the view that that money, the wealth of the nation, should be expended. That is why people are running out of the country and getting embarrassed everywhere. So, if this money is committed more to the well-being of the people, this nation will develop and we will have happy citizens. Third, that the nation is presently under insecurity siege of terrorism and banditry, and therefore government working with the people in the various localities across the country must take effective steps and measures to tackle the country's heightening insecurity without any further delay. We are of the view that this issue is insecurity needs a more urgent attention from government. The world has changed. Sending people, troops to be looking for banditry is no longer the standard of this age.
Yeah.
Technology is the standard of the age.
Oh, yes.
And the wealth of the nation, part of the wealth of the nation, should be used to enhance technology that will help secure the people. we have gotten to a point where you can identify people merely from the heat coming from their body.
Yes.
Heat coming from their body. The sweat. And there are so many ways. So government should invest in technology to secure our people. If the government needs to talk to other nations or other advanced institutions, then it should do that. The primary duty of a government is security of the people. And the effect of this security is multidimensional. People cannot go to farm. If people cannot go to farm, how do we guarantee food security? People cannot even move. You want to travel to see your grandmother, there is a problem. People are afraid. So the nation is under siege. And the responsibility of government in terms of security should be enhanced. And urgently too. Imminently too. This is our position. You should use technology, turn to technology. It's not sufficient for government to just send, oh, we kidnap people today, you send delegation. We kidnap people today, you send another delegation. Nobody is sending people, all over the place now to deal with security anywhere in the world. You send equipment, drones, advanced technology. We are of the view that government should take effective steps and measures to tackle the country's hardening insecurity without any further delay. Without any further delay.
Yes.
4, that the country is beset by low agricultural productivity and food insecurity. Given the country's increasing population, government needs to tackle this existential threat through concrete steps beyond mere assurances. I think it was Russian Congress, Russian House, legislative house that said
Russian Duma.
That a hungry mouth does not understand the language of persuasion. You cannot reason well when you have no food to sustain life. And a lot of our people, the ordinary people, are hungry. The extraordinary people that are governing us may not understand that because they don't go to the villages. They don't interact with them. We, particularly those of us in NGOs, non-governmental organizations, people interacting with them, people interacting with people, we understand what is happening in the country. There's too much poverty in the country and too much hunger. And God has endowed this nation with the land to produce. Government needs to do something. The population of the country is growing. By 2030, the nation will be maybe the fourth or something like the largest country in the world. And this is the time to begin to deal with the problem. Like Niccolo Machiavelli said, when problem arises, if you don't deal with them, they overwhelm you. Like cancer. At the initial stage, it may be difficult to detect, but easy to cure. But when you get to late stage, it becomes easy to detect, but difficult to cure. So we are asking the government now to understand that we are at the early stage of immense hunger in the country. It may be difficult to detect now because government and the leaders of government in all ramifications are comfortable, whether you are talking of legislative or executive. Yes, it may be difficult to detect now, but it is easier if you take necessary steps now to cure. If they leave it and the population continue to explode as it is, then we get to a point where it is easy to detect, but it becomes difficult to cure. That is what we under immediate measures that need to be taken.
Yes.
We now have fundamental measure that we believe is absolutely necessary and compelling if this nation is going to know peace, order, and good government. At the forum, however, observed as part of the fundamental measure that the 1999 Constitution was imposed on the people of Nigeria by the last military government. The military government, as an institution, by its own law, gave itself power only to make law, but not power to make a constitution for the people of Nigeria. It gave itself only the power, legislative power, which is co-equal to the legislative power granted to National Assembly. Just as the National Assembly cannot give us a constitution in the same manner, based on the law, the legislative power it gave to itself, the military also couldn't have given us a constitution. The military as an institution gave itself only power to make law, not power to make a constitution. Therefore, in making a constitution, it abused its powers and violated the rights of the people. Therefore, the forum holds the view that the National Assembly, duly constituted, as you all know, by the election of the people before the coming into effect of the 1999 Constitution. That Constitution came into effect at 12 midnight on May 29, 1999. By that time, the president had been elected, legislative houses have been constituted, houses of assemblies of the states have been established, even in local governments. So it wasn't that constitution that gave us government in 1999. It was after the people have given themselves government. No different from what happens in Britain. It was after the people, through the delegated power of election, had given themselves government. That is when the Constitution came into effect. And it is not, we repeat, we made it clear yesterday. It is not a government that gives a nation a constitution. It is a constitution that gives a nation a government. It is important to repeat it. It is not a government that gives any nation a constitution. It is a constitution that gives a nation a government. And it is not the content of a constitution that validates a constitution. It's the procedure of making it. One single man can give Nigeria the best written constitution. If the people come together, the peoples of Nigeria, and they give themselves a constitution, it is a valid constitution because it is given to themselves, by themselves and for themselves, notwithstanding the ness of that constitution. That is our position. And that is what the serious business of Nigeria, that the National Assembly, because it's exercising delegated power of the people through the election, which was brought about before this constitution, should take by coming up with a law that enables the people to give to themselves a constitution. We consider Nigeria a unique country where the different ethnic groups are positioned located in different geographical zones. And we have agreed to live together. But if we agree with different people to live together, there must be some terms. That's right. There must be some agreement. It's like you have a farm, owned a farm left by your father. One is a teacher, one is a nurse, one is a lawyer, and the other one is a politician, like my brother here. Now, how do you want to manage that farm? You sit around the table and agree. Not that a military, one of them who perhaps is a soldier, will put a gun and then will say that this is how you should do it. In any case, when we have managed to return him to common sense and we now have a democracy, it makes common sense. It makes sense that we should sit down around the table and agree on how we want to become. This is a simple common sense equation. We should have been taken up by the first legislative house on the return to civilian government. So we hold the view that a constitution of the people, by the people, and for the people has become imperative if we are going to have peace, order, and good government in Nigeria. So, resolution. In view of the above resolutions, stakeholders at the forum resolved to immediately set up an ideological think tank of committed pro-democracy actors and journalists to immediately rally stakeholders and the general populace towards the actualization of the above resolutions and measures to save the future of the country from suffocating political opportunism and imminent collapse. The preoccupation should be Nigeria, not just the preoccupation of winning election. What is the value of a nation? What is the value of a fine body in a failing heart? The heart of Nigeria is failing. Therefore, it demands urgent attention. In conclusion, the participants therefore urge the people of Nigeria to be united by the vision for a great nation. This nation has great possibility for greatness. And also be united in resolving the many problems confronting Nigeria. To have faith and belief in the nation's possibilities and the eminence of our citizens, being the most significant and important black nation in the world. The event ended with emphasis on due consideration and urgent implementation of the suggestions set up out above in order to put the nation on a strong structural foundation for democracy and economic progress and prosperity and beyond mere politicking. This communique was signed and approved by the following representatives of this gathering. Myself, Dr. Tunji Abayomi, Comrade Solomon Dalong from Jos, Professor Sadiq Umar from Gombe, Professor Mrs. Remi Shonaya, Mr. Emeka Ugu Oju, Comrade Olusegun Mayegun, who is here, Dr. Tanko Yunusa, Veteran Olawale Okunuyi, and of course, Prince Wale Adebayo. Yes. After all, there's nothing so absurd in it. America was under the Article of Confederacy up to 1787, under Article of the Confederacy. So they then said that this article was given to them an imperfect society, disorder, and so on and so forth. They came together in 1787. I think it was from May 25 until September 16. And they came up with the Constitution, which is now the oldest constitution. And they wanted to give to themselves the greatest nation on earth, taking into consideration the peculiarities and the excellencies of their people. In the same manner, why can we not do it, for God's sake? Considering the importance of this nation. So we are of the view that our peoples, and we emphasize peoples, yes, should gather together in what Leopold Senghor calls something like a universal banquet, national banquet of thought, to come up with ideas of a constitution of the people, by the people, and for the people. The National Assembly should bring a law, should enact a law, because it already has delegated power of the people because of that election before this constitution came into effect.
Please, as an addendum,
Yes.
personal alert is already being set to the nation by the Nigerian youth, who are demanding unequivocally for accountability, credibility, consistency, capacity, and as also credibility with immense character. If that is not done, you have already seen them already peeping up on the streets. It has imminent danger that if we do not take a proactive action credibly well, the kind of upsort that you will see in this country towards the 2027 general election may be impending on this government and all of us. You saw just one man returning from China, and a lot of Nigerian youth came out en masse. That is a pointer to what may happen in the 2027 general election. And so we are calling on this government to save this country from this imminent danger by ensuring that the Electoral Act is being revisited and we have a credible election. It is only a credible election that will usher in credible government. It is only a credible government that will usher in credible governance. And it's only credible governance that will give credible food on the table of every Nigerian. And that should be an answerable early warning sign for this government and for any other government that may want to do so. Please take note.
Is a credible, fair, and free election. Nobody is campaigning for any candidate. And free and fair election is a campaign for the people of Nigeria.
Yes.
We belong to different political interests. But there's only one political party, and that is Nigeria. We even consider it a little embarrassing that a nation with the significance of Nigeria cannot hold a free and fair election. It's embarrassing. Everywhere else, all over the world, people hold free and fair election. So why can we not have free and fair election? If we have free and fair election and the people elect Didiri to govern them, very well.
So be it.
If they elect Tinubu to govern them, very well. If they elect Atiku to govern them in a free and fair election, very well. If they elect Obi to govern them, even if they elect Wike to govern them, very well. On the other hand, if they leave all of them and they elect Prince Wole Adebayo in a free and fair election, very well. The people's interest, their wish, their approbation is confirmed. The government should work to ensure a free and fair election, because this is the only way that government can be held accountable at different levels. And we're not even focusing on the federal government alone. Whether you are talking at local government or state or federal government, free and fair election that is credible. That is what we are talking about, because we believe it is an organic right of our people to decide who should be their leader in a free and fair election.
It doesn't matter what the message you give. They say, why? Why are they doing this thing? And I will tell you why. The duty of the president, some of the duty of the president is moral and spiritual, because the father of the nation. Yes. That is why a father prays for his child, mother prays for their child, and it works. So when they call you head of state, in all our culture, head is the head. Then the president can also be a politician. But when he's head of state, he's not a politician. That's why in England, the king or the queen is not a politician. That's why in 1960, Nnamdi Azikiwe said, retire from politics, become the governor general, later become the president. But in 1979, we combined the office of the head of state. We combine it with that of head of government. And the president is also a manager of resources, chief executive, by Section 5 of the Constitution. And he's also the commander-in-chief. So he's combining so many offices, which in other countries are different. In England, the head of state is different. That's Charles, the king. Head of government, Keir Starmer, the prime minister. Now, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces is a soldier, separate. But Nigeria will combine together. So when this moral crisis was coming to the country, we gathered together. And it was the day, it was during Ramadan. We said, let us wait. The president is a Muslim. He will be fasting. He will be in a state of grace. And instead of us looking for him, he will look for us. So the president set out to all political parties and said, come to the State House, Aso Villa, and do iftar with me, breaking of fast. So we now set agenda for him and asked all the leaders of political parties to go there. And we made the preparation like this. Before we brought it back to the leaders of the people on the street, we went to the leader of the country. And we asked the chairman of Inter-Party Advisory Council,
IPAC,
Dantale, to tell the president the moral crisis facing the country. And we said, Mr. President, you are our leader, you are our father. Please, remember your duty to this country. You are our head of state. This electoral act that you are shoving down the throat of the National Assembly is not good for the country. In election, only one person can win. But we want that person not to lose by winning. Because an election should not result in a politician winning and the people losing. Who will you lead? And we made so many respectful and persuasive pleas to the president as the father of the nation. The president could have said, yeah, okay, I've heard you, I'll pray over it. He just jumped up and said, oh, you provoke me. Why should I help the nation? Why should I help you? I'm contesting. It's on tape, what I'm saying.
just be blunt.
I'm contesting. They're provoking me. When I was in opposition, I suffered. Go and suffer your own. Why should I make laws that favor free and fair election?
Wow.
If you don't want to vote, don't vote. Who said we must vote? You can sleep in your house. If it's only 3 people that vote for me, I win.
My God.
And he concluded, I say, politics is a game, and the game is sweet when you are winning.
Wow. Anyhow.
He said it. Can go and look for the tape.
Anyhow.
At that moment, he ceased to be head of state. Just like any other politician,
Oh, yes.
without reflection.
Come down.
So that's the moment we started to go to the National Assembly to go and protest that the law should not be made. And we talked to the assembly members. Many of them are calling me now that you were right. When you say we should not pass that thing, I told them that if you think that all of you rush to APC, become a one-party state, you are not going to become a one-party state. Tinubu is going to have a one-man rule. And one-man rule is going to mean one man ruin the nation. So this is why we are now coming back to the people to say, don't say that your responsibility is to go on that day to go and thumbprint. If you cannot own the process, don't even bother to do it. Because there is no government doing it for you. Second reason why we are doing this is that INEC the institution that is given the constitutional and legislative power to conduct elections, we have been battling with them, correcting them, attending meeting. This year alone, my own party, I don't know of other parties, we've written 182 letters to INEC, each one reminding them of their duty, on top of other meetings. Even the people in INEC are tired of being INEC. If you give a Amukutan sick leave now, if you ask to give you sick leave, you will ask for 3 years sick leave. Because the government is still the INEC. You just put them there as figureheads. And we are now trying, we're not just opposing INEC. Because when we started, we thought, oh, INEC people are just incompetent. When we started struggling with them, even if you take a letter to INEC, there are some letters they will see, they will take phone and call Villa. If they say don't collect, they don't collect. If they say collect and throw away, they collect and throw away. So they themselves need to be rescued. The people need to go to INEC and remind INEC that they are the original landlord, even on the land on which the headquarters is built. It's owned by the people. So don't worry about the government. So it is not about looking for advantage. The time for campaign will come. It is to remind us that we are a civil society. And that everybody in Nigeria has God-given sovereignty. It's not about the quality of government. We're not talking about, we know all the problems, the economy, that's not the issue. The continuity of the state. Because not everybody will be using politics to resolve this issue. But politics is the best way to resolve it. But not everybody has confidence in politics. And unlike what President Tinubu thinks, that if you don't want to vote, it's up to you. People are not just to lie down like that. Because their livelihood is involved. The sanctity of their families are involved. The ability to prosper in the country is involved. And there is nowhere for Nigerians to go. You can't say, oh, I'm tired of Nigeria, let me go to Canada. Canada is tired of itself. You can't even go to South Africa. Pass by, they will lynch you. Kuwait says, I don't even want houseboy from Nigeria. So to put conclusion, this is why we are doing it. So that the people will send a signal to the president that whether we are going to vote for you or not in the next election, that one you should know by now. The issue now is that you cannot hijack the state. Because it wasn't the uniform of the military that we opposed. It was their shocking policy, anti-democratic policy. So if a civilian wearing double agbada and 3 caps on his head is doing the same thing the military did, we will oppose it. And that's why we said we will double the effort. So when we go out and you see us on the street, you see us everywhere, don't say, oh, they are doing politics in order to defeat Tinubu. No. We are doing this agitation to assert our citizenship right, because the only office, if the next election I'm working hard to win. But even if I win 2 elections, I can only spend 8 years as president. What matters to me is the citizenship of Nigeria.
Okay.
And they are diminishing that citizenship with what they are doing. That's why we are here.
So the issue is...
Because you see, we are a civil organization. We should also not be seen to be combative, to be throwing stones. I said that if they refuse, they want to go into the election with this election, we should boycott that election. We should boycott that election. Because why will you go and contest an election where you know that everything is already rigged? Everything is rigged. The INEC is rigged. Everybody is rigged. Why will you go and campaign for president if the rules of the campaign are k-legged? So they are trying to force Nigerians to go back to another anti-military type of struggle. Because when you talk to the people, they will never listen to you. These ones too, they might never listen to you. So they're already on their way out. So we are going to probably begin. Tinubu must go campaign. We have to reject their government. If the people are talking and you refuse to listen to them, that is the end of that government. So as far as I'm concerned, in my mind, this government has already almost ended. If they remain in power next year, it is not a government. I will never respect it. I can never take any instruction or any order from them. Because when the people are talking, as we are doing now, you must listen to the sensitivity of what they are saying, take steps to save the country from collapse. 33 years, the country is still collapsing. That's why I asked yesterday, are we going to continue this thing forever? Are you going to fight this struggle forever? Somebody said, that's not why. That is why we are fighting. No? We are fighting to end our suffering so that the country can pick up from where it is. It has not been, it was going backward. I was born 50-something years ago. It has not improved. I cannot steal. I cannot beg to eat. That's why we are the way we are now. Those who can steal, those who can beg, they are doing well. But you cannot run a country based on falsehood. Now, the most minimum criteria is the coming election. And you can know how the election is going to go. You don't need to see the election before you know you do it. If you know the rules guarding the election, you know that it will be fail or a success. It's very, very clear to me that if this electoral act stays the way it is now, what are you contesting for president for? We should just, you cannot be say, okay, that's not the reason why we are, that is the reason why we are fighting. And we must not shy away from that.
You begin to see action, you begin to see mobilization, you begin to see, but that think tank is going to come in a way that it is broad, it is dynamic, it includes, or is inclusive of women, youth, students, civil society activists, all segments of the society. That is what you have, and we'll continue to hear from us from time to time.
Let me conclude this.